Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Guunroom YouTube channel with me, Matthew Morgan. You will notice something completely different today. You can't see a gun, you can just see a cardboard box. I am going to join in with the trend of unboxing people looking at iPhones, kitchen equipment, but I'm not going to go from the absolute outset and take it out of the box because that's a waste of life. So today, for everyone to enjoy, we've got what I believe to be a UK exclusive review of Beretta's all new premium grade A400 semi-automatic, the A400 L. Before I open this very plush fancy box, I'd like to thank you all for liking the video, subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already done so, you know what to do. This video is proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show, and this is the new Beretta. So for those that don't know, the Beretta A400 is Beretta's universally recognised semi-automatic that is currently manufactured over in Guardonia Valtrompi in Italy. They have just brought out something revolutionary, particularly for kind of pest controlling and wildfowling, which is the AX800, which is coming soon, so stay tuned for that. However, it's Beretta's 500th year, lots of new exciting products already launched. This is another one. So I'm going to start off with this fantastic case. Normally with an A400 you would get traditionally a grey plastic case, or the current sporting version, which is what this gun is a permutation of, actually comes in a cardboard box. So straight away Beretta have knocked it out of the park with this really fancy snazzy kind of brush stroked brown case with a tan trim. You never guess it's made by green. So I'm going to turn the box around now. You will have already seen the gun on the B-roll at the start of the film, but this is exactly as it will come, if you are to get your hands on one. So we're going to take it out bit by bit and show you all the new features of this Beretta A400 L. Now, of course, being made in Italy and being one of the L range of guns, previously we had the DT10L, the DT11L, so we know that L stands for limoncello. So as you can see, the Lusso, which is what the L stands for, it's not limoncello, comes nicely packaged in these Beretta natty plastic bags. Now, if you're not going to use these, just stick them on eBay, because somebody will want to be putting their hockey stick or something in a Beretta bag. So what we're looking at today is the new A400L, and this is a sporting gun, only available in sporting and only available in 28 and 30 inch. Nice touch also, Beretta have also added this to their Vittoria range of guns, which if you will have seen our ladies essential guide to shotguns, or essential guide to ladies shotguns, the Vittoria stock features in there, which of course is reduced grip, Monte Carlo, that kind of stuff. So we'll take the big bits out of the box first, and we'll move the box out of the way for now and come back to that shortly. We're going to pop it together, and then one by one we're going to go through all of the exciting new features of this A400L. Now, if you have watched this much of the video, you will notice this is Beretta's first engraved semi-automatic since I can remember. I think the AL390 Lioness was the last one that I can recall, which was a good few years ago now, and I can't actually remember if we've done a review of one of those on the channel. Now, that was in the 1990s. Beretta have done nothing to my knowledge since in terms of a limited edition or an upgraded version of their standard line of semi-autos. So this is very exciting. So pull the bolt back and you can see straight away, whereas Beretta semi-autos, you know, look at the modern ones, you've got the A400, which is a grey, it's that aquatech finish, same as the extreme autos. What Beretta have done here, they've got the kind of this nickel finish action, but it's still got that kind of brushed look about it, so it looks very prestigious, very premium. And the engraving is of course laser done. We know that Beretta have got tons and tons and tons of lasers of all different types of axes, so it's some nice depth, nice contrast to the engraving. We've got some swirly wavy stuff, and we've got some, interestingly enough, looks like the top of a picnic basket or a, you know, a thatched roof on a cottage, but it is quite blingy, but I don't think it's over the top. There's no gold on it, but it still retains that kind of subtlety. It's engraved all across the top of the receiver, and at the bottom we've got this nice little scroll with Beretta, made in Italy, and of course the famous, which of course should be on every single Beretta gun, Trident logo. The great thing about this engraving is because the Beretta are kind of at the peak of the technology with the laser stuff, it just gives you the different depths. I mean, here you've got like a vine wrapped around a meter stick ruler at the top, and it's, like I said, it's a very bold design. But if you take the standard version of the A400, it is complete opposite, which is probably what Beretta is trying to achieve, because we've looked before on the channel at the kind of Benelli Raffaellos and the Academias, and they are premium semi-automatics that are heavily embellished. So I'm guessing they're just trying to get on that bandwagon. So just to finish off the engraving, we've got A400 L in this little scroll on the side. The actual button for the release of the bolt has got this nice little bit of checker on. It's got patented there. I'm not sure what the patent's for, but it might be the knobbly bit, like the top of a golf ball. And another interesting point with this particular gun is they have decided to coat the actual bolt itself in DLC, which we know is diamond-like carbon, so we know it's pretty much impervious to rust. It's not going to wear. It's very, very hard wearing. It's going to give good longevity to the gun. And as part of all Beretta A400s, it's got the Blink or the B-Link system, which is something they're very, very proud of. And that's all to do with the gas operation, the kind of the lock times and the cycling, the functionality of it, and how quick this thing goes off and reloads. The key part, of course, of the B-Link system is the rotating bolt head, which makes everything nice and tight, nice and precise in terms of the actual performance of the shotgun. Another new thing, there's lots of new things to get through, is Beretta have taken the bold step to have the trigger group made out of a lighter weight material. I think it's erg, something like that, than the standard version that's available on the standard 400 at the minute. That's from a balance point of view, but also it enables them to give this really nice brush finish throughout. The trigger, it's got to be DLC coated. I couldn't confirm or deny that, but it's certainly blued. So with that nice contrast of the light and the dark, the light of the kind of the brushed alley finish and the dark trigger, the DLC bolt, I think it works really, really well. I think the design team at Beretta have absolutely gone to town and they've nailed the aesthetics of the action on this gun without a doubt. We've also got this new chunkier safety switch, which is essentially a bigger knob, and who doesn't want one of those? Very, very easy to operate, push backwards and forwards, even if your fingers are freezing cold, you're shooting a winter series, that kind of stuff. Just going back to the mechanics of it, remember if we looked at the A400 Black Edition, it got like an extended bolt release and that big sort of clanger's nose on the end. This gun is a bit more refined, it's a bit sleeker, it's a bit nicer looking. So we haven't got any of the really big sticking out bits, but what we have got is we've got functionality. Now, with the new A400, it's the same with the grey one. The actual carrier, which traditionally was, of course, flush with the bottom of the action, now sticks out, and it just makes the whole thing easier to load because it feels like less work. You know, previously you had to sort of fiddle around, get your thumb in, but this seems a lot more straightforward and a lot more sleeker in terms of the operation. And the interesting point, which no one's going to care about, the actual magazine tube plunger is bright green. So before we look at the barrel and what Beretta have changed there in terms of technology, which is even more exciting stuff, we're just going to turn our attention to the woodwork. Now, traditionally, the A400 Sporter, this is the Xcel Sporter, has always come with this kind of laser-enhanced grain where Beretta get this piece of wood and they basically burn it to make it look like a nicer piece of wood. They've done away with that idea. We've got some actual walnut on this gun. So it's grade 2.5. It's nicely oil finished. It's got the new oil finish that Beretta are now doing, which is kind of like a semi-satin mid-oil, I think they refer to it, mid-natural oil. But not only that, so it's nicely figured, European walnut, no doubt whatsoever. But what they've done is here is they've actually changed the complete grip on the 400. So the first thing you'll probably notice, like I did, is we've got this kind of full coverage checkering. Now the idea behind that it goes further back into the stock is just to give you more grip when you're holding the gun in, you know, wet weather, that kind of stuff, to get it more solid in terms of the mount. Beretta have also got a slight palm swell on this gun. They have thinned down the grip so it feels really, really nice. They've rounded the bottom of the pistol grip so it doesn't kind of catch you on a sharp edge in your hand, and it just feels really, really good. Now, I've always been a huge fan of Beretta autos because I prefer them in terms of the functionality over a Benelli. Benellis are excellent shotguns, there is no doubt whatsoever, but from a shooting experience, I just prefer the gas operation of a Beretta. Now, picking that up and feeling that, it's not dislike what they've done to the DT11 Super Sport. They've just looked at the ergonomics and then gone to the kind of nth degree to just make sure that it's just better all round. Microcore recoil pad on the back end. This is 14 5/8 with an 18mm microcore recoil pad. You can make it longer, shorter, put a spacer in, do whatever you want to do. And that's not the only thing they've changed with the wood. Now, they've completely redesigned the forend. We know that Beavertail forends are very popular amongst the clay shooting fraternity, And because of the redesign of this fore end, what they've done is it's basically swelled out along its length, a bit like I do when I go on an all-inclusive holiday. And it just feels better. It feels almost like a beaver tail. It's got these kind of flat sides, so it just feels much better in the hand. There's a little bit of a recess, so it's not a beaver tail, but it's certainly got some of the aspects of a beaver tail when you put it in your hand and when you feel it and when you mount the gun. Bit chunkier. Also, they've got a bit more of a taper on it, so it is quite different to the standard A400. They've put these natty carbon vents in here, which are quite cool. I don't know if I'd have done them in DLC, that looked even cooler, but you know, it's not offensive. So also on this redesigned fore end design, the checkering is really, really nice. You've got a Beretta logo there, which is a nice touch. And just in case I haven't mentioned it already, it's actually grade 2.5 walnut. So it's basically what you'd get if you bought something like a 694. Final point with the fore, and I keep finding these final points, is they have redesigned the actual screw cap. Now for years, for decades in fact, the fore end catches or the fore end nuts on Beretta semi-autos have always been a bit of a bugbear because they've always been a bit of a funny shape, and if they seized on you couldn't get them off. Beretta have absolutely nailed it with this because they've got these much bigger grooves to be able to get your thumb in. And in addition to that, there's also a balancing system that goes somewhere in here, available in sort of, I think, lightweight, medium, and then heavy, depending on where you want to put the weight and where you want to balance the gun. There is some weight in the box, hopefully, so we'll look at that shortly. So weight-wise, the gun weighs £7, 12 ounces, and that just kind of cements what I'm saying about the suitability of Berettas in particular for clay shooting applications. The Benelli, for example, with it being a nursery operator, probably going to be about 7 or 8 ounces lighter. And what you need if you want to go and shoot clays with a semi-auto, you need that extra bit of weight to give you that increased control. Just my opinion. If you don't agree with me, comment below. So I'm going to strip it down because I want to be able to get to the barrel and talk about the changes to the barrel. So dead easy, all we do is we unscrew this new, very silky, smooth fore end nut. Now, interestingly enough, in the front of the fore end nut, it's got this little push button, which is to do with where we put the weights in, and it's got the word balance, but it's got balance, a bit like Frank Spencer from Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. Right, fore end off. Silky smooth as well. In the past, some Beretta fore ends have been a bit clingy when you've tried to take them off, just like they were grabbing onto the magazine tube. And then the barrel comes off, and we talked about the B-link or the blink system, and the whole idea with that is, of course, it's efficiency, and part of that is the self-cleaning piston, which goes in the piston cup, which is like that, which drops in there, simple as that. So the idea is that as you shoot it, it's got these little teeth on, so it's self-cleaning, it never gets gummed up and jammed up inside the piston. Now, more exciting news in terms of the barrel. Now, we'll start with the top, we'll start with the rib. 10x8 sporting tapered rib, same as you get on a 694 DT11 Silver Pigeon. I've got this nice big vents on the barrel, but what Beretta have done is they have changed the overboring of the barrel, and this has now got a Stellium Plus bore, exactly the same as a 694. So what you've got an increased length forcing cone. I think it's 320 or 360 mil, don't quote me on that. So much longer than a standard A400, which is just going to give you reduced felt recoil, which again says that this is an out-and-out competition shooting semi-auto. Go out, shoot 100, 200 through it on a Sunday, and you're not going to feel it because you've got 18.6 overbore barrels, longer forcing cones, and that brings me on to the chokes at the business end. Optima HP. This gun comes with black chokes. They're not DLC, they are just the standard blued finish as opposed to the flush ones. But if you wanted to put some flush ones in, no problem at all. If you want to put some DLC ones, that's your pleasure. Bead wise, we've got the standard white foresight bead. No mid bead, which is interesting because if you buy an A400 ATS, which is the current grey version, they come with the mid bead as standard. 3-inch chambers, so yes, you could double this gun up and go wild fowling with it, or go pigeon shooting, whatever, but let's not forget its main remit is as a competition clay shotgun. As you'd expect, the gun is of course HP steel shot proofed, so it's future proof, and it's going to give a lot of people a lot of fun for a number of years. It's worth pointing out that even though Beretta have made all these changes and they've made this exciting new, very tasty looking semi-auto, it is not a limited edition as many of their 500th year guns are going to be. It is readily available, like I said, 28 and 30-inch sporting, and the same in the Victoria ladies dedicated stock spec. So we're going to bring the box in, but before I do that, I've just noticed this this lucky horseshoe, which is a piece of foam that's of course come out of the action at the disassembly part. Really handy. You can rest your barrels in it. You can stick it on the wall, hang your gun slip on, but only if your gun slip weighs less than a fun-sized pack of Haribo. Okay, so that's the lucky horseshoe. We touched on it briefly at the start. This is a really smart case, especially for a semi-auto. I mean, I like the Benelli cases, but they're a bit difficult to open. This has got standard combination locks, which is happy days. Very, very nicely executed with the brown and the tan. Black inside, little bit like a DT11 case. And we've got the pocket, which has got the goodies in it, which has got the Negrini instructions. They should really sponsor this channel, the amount of times I give them a plug, to be fair. We've got a QR code for the manual. And then, look at this. It looks like one of these old style pencil cases you had at school, right? It's got a magnetic lid. So that comes off like that. And look at the goodies in here. Now I'm going to start with the weights because I can't quite figure out how they go on, but there's something to do with the fore-end nut, the fore-end cap. So these are the small weights. It says medium on it. It's what weight M. It's either for Matthew or medium, who knows. They go on somewhere in terms of the fore-end cap. I am going to have a look at this and see how it works when we finish filming, but for the current situation, I have no idea. Beretta Oleo. Now this is quite interesting because Beretta give this away with all their new guns. However, historically they used to give the Teflon oil away, or supply the Teflon oil in the case for the semi-autos, because it was just better for semi-autos in general. For putting on the magazine tube, it was a much slicker kind of lubricant. So they've obviously gone backwards there. We'll probably blame the war in Iran for that. Then we go on to the chokes. We've got 3 with this one, which is the same as you'd get with the standard A400 grey. We have got a half, a 3/4 and a quarter. So remember, you've only got one barrel, so you're going to be covered pretty much for all clay shooting applications. The only thing you might want to get over if you're a bit of an avid skeet shooter is a skeet choke. I wonder whether your area was from our remote control car. Now, this is actually a magazine restriction thingy bob that goes up the magazine and restricts it to a single shot. It's standard gear. Beretta put them in with their autos for decades, and they're obviously still doing it, not run out of the skip load of them just yet. Choke key, standard choke key, as ever. And one thing we didn't quite touch on with the stock, as all Berettas, 390s, 391s, A400s, there's always the shimming system. It's a good shimming system. It works very well. So that's if you want to alter the cast or the drop of the stock. Length, of course, is different. That has to be done with recoil pads and spacers. But with a Beretta, with the A400 L, you will get the shim system to give you a drop anywhere between sort of 45 and 65 mil, both left-handed and right-handed. You could, of course, cast this gun in terms of the bend of the stock for a left-handed shooter, but remember that they only manufacture these in right-handed eject. If you do want a left-handed eject semi-auto, you'd have to go, I think, for the A400 Action or the Explore, one of those, which is not really an out-and-out clay gun like the A400 L is. Interesting point, they've even had the Brasso look on the shim spacer plate to give it a nice bit of a polish, but really nicely thought out case. I like this little magnetic thing that goes on here. Just the weights really that are continuing to baffle me, but I'm sure I'll work it out soon enough. So to summarize all these new exciting features of the A400 L, and if you're a Beretta semi-auto fan like I am, you're going to love all of this. So we have got real wood grade 2.5 walnut starting from the back. We have got the full coverage check-in, which gives it almost that kind of custom feel. Redesigned grip, it's slimmer in the neck, it's softer on the bottom of the pistol, feels really, really good in the hand. The trigger unit is a new lightweight material. I think it's erg or something like that. We've got a bigger knob and we've got a patented designed top of a golf ball push button. We've got the new style engraving, of course. We have got a DLC coated bolt with the B-link system, which is not new. We've got a redesigned fore end. It swells out a little bit at the side. It's got a more positive feel in the hand. It feels chunky, a bit like a beaver tail fore end. And we've also got Stellium Plus technology in the barrels. So basically that means that it's got a longer forcing cone and will give you better ballistics and a smoother shooting gun. On top of that, we've also got a new case, very, very exciting, with a magnetic thing inside. And finally, last but not least, we've also got the new design for a nut, the new style vent, and of course the weighting system for the front end of the gun. I've got to say, I really like this gun. When I first saw the photos of the engraving, I wasn't that impressed, but I have to say it is really, really grown on me. And the way the gun feels is really, really good. It's getting to the point where it just feels more and more like an over and under. So if you've got an over and under and you want a semi-auto for a bit of fun or semi-auto shoots, this is going to tempt a lot of people. If you have enjoyed the banter and the presentation of this Beretta A400 L, please do hit like and do give us a subscribe, and of course recommend us to your shooting friends. Don't forget to check out the website, and if you've got any questions about the A400L, please feel free to contact me directly. I will be happy to help. Today's video proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show, and from me, Matthew Morgan, I believe a UK exclusive full review of Beretta's exciting new A400L. I'll see you next time.